This morning on The Dish, the wonders of wood-fired pizza and a special visit from the youngest Iron Chef in history, Marc Forgione. Marc started working in the kitchen as a kid alongside his dad. Today he runs 3 restaurants and is building a 4th as he constantly refines his approach to simple but exceptional American cuisine.
On a scorching summer day, you'd think the last thing you'd need is a portable wood oven blasting out even more heat. It's always nice to be surprised. As we watched Chef Marc Forgione begin assembling a masterpiece, starting with the best dough in the world.
Nice. I mean, I couldn't have planned this any better. I mean, obviously you can see that she wants to be on TV. Creating a sourdough starter and keeping, I call it her alive, it's almost like a baby. You have to feed her every day. I sing to her sometimes. You know, there's been times where she doesn't look so good, and like I talk to the jar. This is not the dough that you throw 6 feet in the air.
Sourdough is different because it gets its yeast from the air, making each chef's so-called starter unique in flavor and texture. Pizza made from sourdough is tangy and temperamental.
As you can tell, she has an attitude, so if you start throwing her around, she's going to get upset.
Done right, it's also sensational.
The first dough that I threw into our wood-burning oven at Peasant, I mean, I literally started to do like the jig after I tasted the dough. I couldn't believe it. I mean,
it's good.
It was just like, ah.
Forgione's work with sourdough comes a decade after his arrival on the national cooking scene.
And the historic Next Iron Chef Final Challenge is over here in Kitchen Stadium.
At age 31, he became the youngest Iron Chef winner in history.
Chef Forgione.
He was already running restaurant Marc Forgione, opened in 2008, but the Iron Chef victory propelled him to superstardom. Early this year, he turned his attention to a New York institution, Peasant. Peasant, serving rustic Italian food in Lower Manhattan, was run by the legendary Frank DiCarlo, until DiCarlo decided to step aside late last year.
I mean, it's a crazy Hollywood scripted story. He called me in like August, and he was like, you know, hey, Marc, you remember when you said you love Peasant so much? And I was like, yeah, of course. You know, why? He's like, you want it? And I said, yeah, well, sure. And, you know, I think this was like on a Wednesday, and he's like, I need to know by Friday. And I called him back on Friday, and I said, okay.
DiCarlo's last service at Peasant was New Year's Eve. Forgione took over the first week of January. 2 months later, the pandemic hit and changed everything.
I'm looking at this crisis right now, you know, probably the best way I think I can look at it is like a forest fire. And after the forest fire, you know, from the ashes comes life.
Forgione's restaurants, like so many others right now, are doing limited outdoor seating. So we had time to ask him to make us a feast.
Cheers, brother. Thank you so much for having us.
Burrata with cherry tomatoes from the vine. Chicken with roasted onions and oregano. Eggplant sandwiches with buffalo mozzarella. Rigatoni mezzi arrabbiata. An Aperol spritz with orange garnish. And most importantly, the pizza.
I mean, look at that thing. Gorgeous. And then something that I do even with my plated dishes, I kind of like to take the ingredients that we've used and almost do them in like a raw state. So we had that roasted zucchini. So then I'll just put some raw zucchini, and the heat will just kind of almost wilt it because we slice them real thin. And then obviously we had the pecorinos that was grated, that cooked. I just take a little fresh pecorino, gives it a little texture. And then just to remind everybody that this is a beautiful wood-burning oven, I take some smoked salt. And obviously, we hit it with oil right before it went in. This is just so you get that gorgeous grassy notes from the olive oil.
You've done this a few times.
And then this is up for debate, how many slices you want to cut this into. If it's just 2 people, you can get away with 4, but this is a good way to share. And then this is the beauty this is the beauty of sourdough. First of all, no flop.
Yeah.
Okay, no flop.
Look at that.
And then look at the crumb. You see that?
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
It's almost like a souffle, like a cake. I mean, it's just, you know, we actually serve this, believe it or not, with a side of arrabbiata sauce, so that after you're done eating the pizza, you can then take the crust and dip it into the arrabbiata sauce. So some say Papa John's invented that, but we're just trying to make it a little better.
It looks a little bit better, with respect to Papa John's.
With respect to Papa John.
Now I'm starving.
Are you kidding me that you didn't bring any? That's ridiculous.
No, it was made fresh.
That should have been.
Here we
That
go.
should have been my dish, Jeff, because arrabbiata is my thing.
Oh.
The dipping, every
The
Italian
spice,
restaurant I
oh,
go to,
my
I want the
gosh.
arrabbiata sauce.
Nice.
We're
Oh,
done
I
with you,
like
Glor.
that. We're done with
But great job, Jeff. Great job. Great job.
I want to go eat outside at Peasant now just to get a little taste of any of that.
Great job, Mark, and great job on the dish team, by the way.
Yes.
Marie, Marcy, Dan,
Yeah.
everybody.
All of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.